Welcome back to the program. This is the campaign edition of Choice 2017, where we're doing nothing but following the campaign. We are on the campaign trails. President Uhuru Kenyatta currently is in Kaimosi, where he has just opened a newly refurbished Jumuiya Friends Hospital there. Kaimosi is in Vihiga County, and in neighboring Busia County, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga and his NASA brigade are currently addressing the people of Funyula. Let's go straight to Funyula for now.
Nyongeza utoma. Kwa hivyo wafuasi wote nataka tupigwe, hata wafuasi wa Utoma na wafuasi wa Ojamong na wafuasi wetu wote tupigie na Mheshimiwa Raila Amolo Odinga. Na mjue mbunge wenu anaitwa Mark Oseno. Asante. Thank you. NASA, Raila Killing, Raila Ria, Raila State House. Once mimi naitwa Michael, nikiwa kwa chama ya Ford Kenya. NASA imetupatia multiple choices ABC. Na mimi katika hiyo choice, pia mimi niko kwa nafasi ya governor ya Busia County. Chaguoni yenu, chaguoni yangu, chaguoni ya baba. Raila Killing. Barikiwe. Raila Killing. Raila State House. Wapi kura Raila? Wapi kura Raila? Nawaambia serikali ya Jubilee, serikali ya majambazi wametuibia, na mkitaka kukomboa Kenya, kura yako tafadhali patia baba. Na mwaka ile kura ilipita, Busia tulipatia Uhuru kura 3,000. Mwaka huu tafadhali tupatie Uhuru 0. Ngapa Uhuru 0.
Those are live pictures from Funyula, where NASA leaders are currently addressing their supporters there. Funyula is in Busia County, and as I've already told you, in the neighboring Vihiga County, President Uhuru Kenyatta has just finished attending a church service. Then he has also opened a hospital in Kaimosi. Let's listen into some of the leaders there from the Jubilee Brigade as they're currently addressing the people of Kaimosi.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander of Defense Forces, colleague General Manuel, the leadership of this region, the General Secretary of the National Council of Churches in Kenya, the Chair of the Jumuiya Hospital Board, Chair of the Friends Church, members of the medical faculty, ladies and gentlemen, Amjambo. I stand before you today here to represent the CS health and also on my own capacity, because the direction
Well, we apologize for that technical hitch, but we're going back to Kaimosi shortly because we expect President Uhuru Kenyatta to address the people there. He has just opened a newly refurbished hospital, that is Jumuia Friends Hospital in Kaimosi in Vihiga County. At the same time, we also expect former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, who is also the NASA leader, to address his supporters in Funyula. All this in this show because we're here to make sure that you don't miss anything as far as the campaign season is concerned. Prof, let me get back to you once again. You've seen the president in Vihiga, you know, he's trying to, he has opened a hospital that has been refurbished and everything. But on the other hand, we're seeing NASA, you know, in their political rally. Do you think this is something the president wants to ride on, saying that, you know, showing people that Jubilee is all about development, perhaps? And
well, it's the image being crafted. He has been saying he's development-minded.
Yes.
And what can be more telling than a good hospital being opened, you know? So, I mean, it's part of the whole thing. There is no question about it. The opening of that hospital, supposedly a very comprehensive, that might help to stem the flow of Kenyans to India and other places. Might. It will not stop, but it might. It's a very positive thing. You bring health to where it is needed to the people. So as a symbolic thing, it's very positive in terms of convincing people that he really is a development man. I think there will be a rally afterwards. Now that will be political, and I'm sure he mentioned. Tumefungua hospitali, you know.
Actually, he has not yet confirmed whether he's going to have a political rally.
You address the public, you know, and there will be a crowd. You know, the size of the crowd is not the issue, but there will be a crowd there, and he will address them and say that, you see, we have opened a hospital to make sure that you people are well treated.
Yes.
You know, those kind of things. It is expected. Yeah.
Brian, we still don't know what the NASA leader's agenda is during his rally in Busia. Of course, he is expected to speak any moment from now. But on the other hand, we're seeing Jubilee, you know, engaging in development kind of issues. Do you think this is the image that Jubilee is trying to craft?
Absolutely.
And do you think it can turn into votes for them? Because apparently they're using it as a selling point.
Oh, yeah, sure. I always say that Jubilee has that political competitive edge over NASA when it comes to, you know, showcasing what they have. Because as you can see right now, for instance, President Uhuru, he's going as a president, showcasing development in terms of what he has done to the people, whether they are from Western, Central, or whichever part of this country. So he has that kind of advantage. And again, he now tries to, you know, integrate this in his political rallies. And as Prof said, he's able now to show, apart from these politics that we are making on this platform, we are also able to showcase something that we have done. And therefore, always the incumbency has that kind of competitive edge over the opponents. And because he has all the trappings of power, he has all the instruments of power, he has all the kind of systems all working under his control.
Yes.
And therefore, for him...
Brian, let me just go straight to Kaimosi. But we're going to go back to Kaimosi shortly because the president is about to address the people there, as he has already opened a hospital in that area. Of course, Kaimosi is in Vihiga County. Let me just come back to you once again. You've already indicated that, you know, Kenyans don't vote based on development. They're just subjected to some sort of an unofficial census. Do you think maybe there are those who are going to maybe change their mind, perhaps, if they see this kind of, you know, development-minded government, perhaps?
Again, maybe. And I think whoever is going to change their minds, you know, those who really understand that, you know, this hospital, you know, will reduce the maternal morbidity or mortality for that matter. But the youth down there, and mostly the ones that don't see any risk of at one time maybe getting into that hospital, I think, again, that hospital or, you know, opening of that hospital may not really be, you know, number of votes. You may not get number of votes over there. But I think, again, I say that so far as we speak, the train is already off as we speak. As
it has left the station.
It has left the station. You know, that hospital is to make others happy. And again, they will clap within a minute, and that's it. As we speak now, it's open that majority of them, not all again, majority of them are going to vote the presidential candidate, national presidential candidate. He may get a few apart on that hospital opening, but the hospital turning into number of votes or increasing number of votes, I don't think so. It's about ethnic.
Hussein, let me add something
Clearly the battle for Western Israel.
The thing is, this overemphasis of ethnic voting sometimes is misleading because it denies the voter the intelligence that he has, that he's a robot. And the reality is the voter is usually better in judgment than the political leaders who are claiming things for them. And the record is there that political leaders have advised people to do one thing, and the voters have done
a different thing.
And if you ask them very carefully, they will tell you, we have seen difference. Kibaki won in 2007, in part because people could say, tumeona. Tumeona. Now, in some very remote parts of the country where you would not expect people to be saying they like Kibaki, whether it's at the coast, whether it is in Turkana, whether it's in Pokot, whether it's in Nyamira, there were those pockets of people, tumeona. And sometimes it is generational. People who are a little more mature are more discerning. And they say, no, we can see the difference. The youth might be excited and said, we don't want to hear that. And some of them don't have votes anyway. But so when it comes to the real voting things, they go to that ballot box with the idea who among whoever they are is best able to represent my interest, not my tribe, my interest. And in that case, it is to say they'll choose either Uhuru for Jubilee or Raila for ODM. And there's also, let me finish this part. This claim that everybody in this place will vote for so-and-so or against so-and-so.
It's not necessarily a reality.
It is not.
Brian, you'll come to that. But for now, let's just get a sneak preview of what is happening in Kaimosi. That is where President Uhuru Kenyatta is about to address the people there.
You will be able to complete your investments in your healthcare delivery business plan and promise you the total support of government. Indeed, as you are aware, in the past 4 years, my government has made great investment in healthcare by expanding and improving the infrastructure. My government has equipped Vihiga County Referral and Muhaya hospitals with theatre equipment, sterilization equipment, surgical sets, renal equipment, ICU equipment, and radiology equipment worth 810 million. This has also helped us bring healthcare services much closer to the people. Indeed, during the last 4 years, my government built and renovated Vihiga KMTC at a cost of 12 million shillings, and free maternal services increased from 6,904 in number of people served in 2012-2013 to 15,264 in the year 2015-2016, an increase of 121%. But government health facilities are not adequate to cover the needs of the entire population. Therefore, once again, as a government, we appreciate the contribution from private faith-based investors like the NCCK, as well as other mission hospitals. We have toured this hospital today, and indeed I am satisfied that it was correctly classified by the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Board as a level 5 teaching and referral hospital, and it will provide specialized quality health care to the people of Western region, neighboring counties, and beyond. The most challenging aspect of healthcare treatment in Kenya is the cost. And it is for this reason that my government has worked hard to expand the scope and services covered by the National Health Insurance Fund so that no Kenyan pays out of pocket for the service. Indeed, I really wish and instruct that the NHIF should consider increasing the capitation rate for this hospital at the amount of level 5 hospital. Our government is aware that the capacity of private and social institutions to provide quality and affordable services requires availability of public utilities, infrastructure such as water, transport, communication, and electricity. I have therefore instructed the Ministry of Transport, Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development to upgrade and tarmac the road running through Kaimosi Complex and backside access to the model mortuary. I have also instructed Kengen and the Kenya Rural Electrification Authority to work towards renovating and reoperationalizing the 2.7 megawatt hydropower generation plant, which is not far from here. The generated electricity should be adequate to reliably supply power to Kaimosi Hospital and the neighboring region. I am also grateful to the Belgian government for the support and assistance that they have given the Kenyan government in the development of the Vihiga water supply system, which will cover Kaimosi. Is Kaimosi Nagani here? Kaimosi, Mbane, Naganuhaya. Covering a total of about some 200,000 people. We thank the Belgian government for their assistance to the loan of 1.8 billion shillings that will be utilized for that project and will indeed be able to cover the water requirements for this region. Indeed, I have also been informed during this service that Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology has expressed interest in establishing a school of medicine with Jumia Friends Hospital Kaimosi as their teaching hospital. This partnership is being hindered by the need of training facilities, which is estimated to cost Kenya shillings 400 million. I have noted that the establishment of the medical school will contribute greatly in increasing the number of health professionals in the country and help in meeting the acute shortage that we are facing now. I am therefore directing the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Education to engage in consultation with the university and the NCCK to come up with an implementation plan that can be funded expeditiously. Indeed, as I conclude, I am conscious that as a country we are on a campaign mode. But this event has given me great pleasure because it shows how Kenyans should always remain focused on development and service delivery. Finally, as we were talking with one chairman of the police commission, ameniambia ya kwamba kuna shida hapa ya the Kaimosi Teachers College, Kaimosi Teachers College. The need for a female hostel, the need for a dining, a kitchen, a multi-purpose hall, and facilities also for teaching staff at a cost of 82 million shillings. And we are agreeing that that money will be made available so that those facilities. With those few remarks, mimi nasema Mungu awabariki, Mungu awalinde, mfanye siasa zenu kwa amani. Asanteni sana.
Well, those are live pictures coming our way from Kaimosi. There you heard it, President Uhuru Kenyatta addressing the people of Kaimosi. These after he opened a newly refurbished Jumuiya Friends Hospital in that area. Kaimosi, of course, is in the Vihiga County. And of course, during his speech, he had a lot of goodies for the people of Vihiga. There is something that we have been witnessing for the better part of this campaign season, be it in Mumias, Bungoma, this time around in Vihiga. Brian, once again, do you think we're going to see more of this, and do you think it might translate into votes?
Absolutely, absolutely. We are going to see more of this. But whether it resonates with the voting, voter increment, I think that's a subject for another day. Because as I said before, if you could have listened carefully, you heard me saying that the ethnicized state or the ethnicized nature of our politics in this country dictates how we vote. Because as much as Uhuru has done so much in terms of development, as much as Raila is actually coming with such nice, promises for the people, at the end of the day, the people will always go back to their, drawing boards in terms of consultations, and they will still coalesce along that personality because of the ethnicized nature of our politics. We have not matured to a situation where we are able to, vote for someone based on what he holds for us as a country, what he has done for this country. No, we are not yet there. And this is something that perhaps we need to ask ourselves, when are we going to be there? Because we need to put measures in place in terms of ensuring that we sensitize our people through advocacy measures to ensure that we remove this kind of ethnic tag from our voting patterns. And at the end of the day, you have somebody, a man or a woman, who is able to deliver or address the very challenges that Otieno, Wamboi, and Mutiso are being affected by. And the moment we are going to graduate to that level, then we shall be able to say, yes, we are there. At least we are able to ensure that we put somebody from a minority to the helm, and not necessarily, the big fish in terms of the big tribes, always, dictating terms and ensuring that they, bulldoze other, communities out of the equation. And therefore, a time when a small community-based leader shall heir the throne or shall occupy the throne, then at that point we shall be able to say exactly, we are able to focus on what that person is able to do for us and not the ethnicity background where he's coming from. How I wish we are there.
Prof, a 2.7 megawatt plant, that is energy, and then he has promised a university, and he has talked about, constructing a dining hall and some structures for Kaimosi Teachers College, which will go for about 2 million shillings. All this, of course, they are, actually it's 82 million. Do you think all this will help in, crafting Uhuru Kenyatta, giving him that image of being a development-minded, oriented person?
Crafting that image. Because what we saw there, opening a hospital and saying, of course, there have been requests for dining hall hostels for the Kaimosi Teachers College, which is a good thing, because students should have some place to sleep. So we agree with that. That is the electricity that's needed. These are acceptable things. It's not that he's campaigning. He's just fulfilling his expectations.
But it's a campaign season. So it's a campaign season.
It's not a bad thing to do. So he's doing the right thing. And the setting was not bad. Although he could not avoid saying, we are in a campaign mood, but this is not a campaign kind of thing. Now, will it have effect? Yes. There are people who will look at that and say, yes, we can see. And as I was saying earlier, and disagreeing with Brian and Jared here, I think it's wrong to overemphasize the ethnic angle. It's a personality thing. And that's why I say it's coming down to Raila and Uhuru. Now, to say that the entire Western is anti-Uhuru is far-fetched. Because how can all the Luyas be anti-Uhuru? Well, for one, Uhuru is not a Luya. Raila is not a Luya. So where is this thing coming from?
I think maybe to make something clear.
Let me just get Jerem's opinion on this. Actually, after Kaimosi, insiders are telling us that maybe the president will go straight to your constituency, that is Ugenya, and of course he'll come in with more goodies.
Dish out something.
Do you think he might interfere? That might interfere with the voting pattern? in Western Kenya and as well as in your constituency?
Let me say this, that it's even unfortunate that the president could leave Nairobi and go to Kaimosi to open a faith-based hospital. For now, I thought it would be a public hospital, then we would much understand. But the
other goodies that he came up with, you know?
Of course, the goodies he has to give them now. And why now? Where has he been for the last 5 years? And again, the chosen few that were in that room to hear about the goodies. And I must say again, that the person outside there, the youth down there, has got no idea about these goodies. Whatever he's looking at is one. This time, two of our sons have come out, and they'll be deputized or they'll be part of NASA, and therefore we need to vote because our son is there, and therefore. Whatever the goodies are, those are good for the ears, but may not really show.
The same can be said of Ababu Namamba. Brian, you had something to say earlier.
Yeah, sure. As I was saying, actually, I think Prof should be a good student of history. And if I were to remind him of where we are coming from in 2013, if we can go and refer the voting patterns of 2013, let him show us the number of voters who voted for Raila in central Kenya, and also let him also give us a comparative analysis of voters who voted for Uhuru Kenyatta in Luo Nyanza. Let's see them, and if we are able to get a balanced sort of a voting pattern, then we are going to say this is all about track record and what somebody has been able to do, or that person is appealing towards as electorates. But if you go and find that 99.9% of central voters in 2013 did it for Uhuru Kenyatta, and in Luo Nyanza 99.9% did for Raila, then we are yet to, demystify this issue of ethnicized voting patterns. So we are not yet there, Prof. But we are still going there.
Speaking about voting patterns,
yes.
This week there has been a lot of political activities happening left, right, and center, and one of them is Jubilee accusing NAS of not having enough support base, and NAS on the other hand doing the same, saying that Jubilee does not have the required number to win the August 8th general elections. So let's just listen into what both leaders had to say.
Sijui kama Mwaranga nyinyi mko tayari kwa uchaguzi.
Alianza akalalamika commissioners ya IBC, akalalamika BVR, akalalamika sijui Chebukati, akalalamika ballot papers. Sasa hii analalamika ati kura itaibiwa. Kura gani itaibiwa na yeye hana kura? Hii ni mtu ya kuanguka. Hii ni mtu ya kuanguka asubuhi. Tunaangalia kwamba tuko na kura za kutosha. We want you because we know you bring the change that Kenya desires. Na sisi tuko ndani ya NASA. Ndani.
Tulikuwa tukiona kama Uhuru akiingia huko atafanya chochote. Amefanya kufweka wananchi wa Kenya kwa umaskini. I was there when they said they will make sure that this economy of the country will grow by double digits. I can say that has not happened. I know Mheshimiwa Raila will do that. Mheshimiwa Raila, okoa nchi ya Kenya.
There you have it, both sides literally just thumping and exuding confidence that they're going to emerge victorious come August 8th. Prof, you've heard what the Deputy President had said earlier, that, there are complaints, raised left, right, and center by the opposition. Basically, saying the bottom line is that they're not ready for elections.
They have no numbers.
Yeah, that has been an interesting narrative. But before I comment on that, let me comment on Brian. I did not argue that most of the Luos will vote for Raila, or most Mount Kenya people will vote for Uhuru. That is not an argument.
Yes.
The battleground is outside those two.
Sure. True. I agree.
Yeah? True. And in those other 43 or 44, whatever the number is, those others, the voting people, when go to the vote, to the booth, will decide which of these two is best for my interest, irrespective of their tribe. That's all I'm saying. Yeah? And that's how elections are won this and that in most cases. So the tribe wango is there. But
I think you've explained that. Now come back to the...
It's more clear, actually.
The last question.
Thank you. Now, these are the thing about the accusations, this and this and this. Yes, Ruto has a point.
Yeah.
Because the record is there. In 2007, the same people said, no Kivuito, no election.
True.
As soon as the elections were over, Kivuito must go. And they brought in a new team that was fully approved by the same people, the Hassan team.
Yeah.
So when they lost, Hassan must go. So he brought in a new team, the Chebukati team. And the Chebukati, on the day they were being sworn, people were casting aspersions on it already. Already. So, and it was very clear because I noted that and I said, something is wrong here. So they unfortunately created an image of trying to prepare to reject the election. That's the image they gave. And I think Ruto was spot on that one. And in pointing out, wait a minute, you cannot be this all the time. It's either you are not ready for the, or you don't want the elections, or something, whatever it is. Now, on the other side, Charity, and she has a good mouth. She's the same person who told us 4.5 years ago, 5 years ago. These are the best people in that. The other side is useless.
Yeah. But that can be said with most politicians.
Yeah, the politicians change. They change depending on the circumstances. They switch places. Khaniri, I saw him, George Khaniri. He's a good man. He talks well. But he's the same person who told us that Musalia Mudavadi is a coward. Remember that? So now suddenly he's become a good man. So it's no more politics.
Let's bring Brian in. Do you agree with Prof that the position here
yes, I do agree.
Has been bringing issues on almost everything?
I think I do agree. But again, while the opposition might be justified at some point, when Jubilee and these institutions sometimes seem working together, or they are inseparable in terms of how they are conducting themselves. I think anybody from a neutral point of perspective will also raise some eyebrows. But again, I also want to say that as a country, we need to think of a situation where we are able to strengthen these institutions, that they are able to operate independently without any sort of infringement by any political side. Because once Jubilee, and they have to be very careful. The moment they want to be seen to be going to bed with the IBC, then there will be an outcry from the opposition, of course. When they will be seen to be so closely intertwined in terms of how they see things together, how they are conducting things together. I think that kind of independence, and that's why it's called an independent electoral commission. That aspect of independence must be seen to be in existence, not just on paper. And that independence should be actually devoid of any kind of, compromise, any sort of infringement, any sort of maneuver by any side of the side, so that that kind of neutrality is also being seen. And the moment they are losing that, then actually the opposition, as far as NASA is concerned, they'll always have some sort of, backlash on the institution. Yet this institution is out there to do its job. But again, that kind of scenario is not easy to achieve as a country, because if you look at the systems that fund the Electoral Commission, it's still the government, which again is the Jubilee administration. So how to separate these two and ensure that independence is seen is a huge mirage for us to achieve it.
I think
Jared, actually. You've heard what the what the Deputy President has said, and people have been saying, the ruling that was made by the Court of Appeal, was it on Friday, that it was somehow a win for Raila Odinga, because here he has the one who has been very vocal against the electoral, the independent and electoral board, that is IEBC, on the fact that presidential results should not be announced at the should not be announced at the national polling center, but should be announced at the constituency level. These are some of the things Jubilee is saying, as they think that NASA is trying to derail them as far as the August 8th elections is concerned.
I think it's high time we read some of reports that come out of some of these commissions that that taxpayers pay. Look at the Kriegler report that talked of at one time the chair, then the late Kivitu could not say who won the election. And therefore, it would be important that, as per the Krieger report, what happened was that, for example, 57 were reported, for example, in Ugenya, where I'm vying as a member of parliament, while reaching at the national office, and at that time it was bombers. Out of 57, maybe 35 is the one that is reported. And so these things took place. And again, Kivitu talked of he was trying to reach the arrows and he couldn't even find them. And I think so, one, it is not a win for either, it is not a loss for Jubilee and it is not a win for NASA. It's a win for the people of this country, that indeed these are some of the things that we need to align in terms of having a free, fair election at the end of the day. Two, I think it is important to note that some of these developments that are taking place, or some of these goodies that the president is giving, these are right to the Kenyans, because as far as Chapter 4 is concerned, in terms of, look, it is your right to have a school, it's a right to have a
so according to you, it's not a favor that the president is doing?
It's a right I think for all the Kenyans to have these goodies.
Okay, your point is...
And I would say that let him also go to Kenya, where I'm vying, so that he can also give us these goodies.
Actually, he'll be there tomorrow, perhaps.
You should be
anyway,
there. You should be there also.
Your point is home and dry. But there's something interesting happening. You know, as much as we're focusing on the battle in Western Kenya, on how, you know, Jubilee is trying to make inroads, and you know, how NASA is trying to water down whatever the president has been saying for the better part of this week and last week, there's something interesting happening in the capital, that is Nairobi.
Oh, sure.
That the silence is just too loud from those eyeing the various seats. Prof, I don't know, what's your observation? But before that, let's just listen in to a soundbite here from an independent candidate who is eyeing the Nairobi's top seat, that is Peter Kenneth, and he made some very interesting remarks. Let's listen in.
Najua vizuri, mulinipatia kura ya nomination. Na sisi hatukupiga safari mbili ama tatu. Mulienda huko mkijua ni PK. Mwenzetu akakuja na ukora tukaibiwa. Si mnajua hivyo? Wakakuja wakapiga mara 10, mara 20, mara 30. Ule alipiga zaidi, alipiga 51. Kwa pamoja hakutushinda, lakini waliiba nomination. Sivyo? Na anajua vile alifanya. Na tunajua ni nani alimsaidia kufanya hiyo ukora. Si tunajua? Alikuwa anasaidiwa na mtu alikuwa anataka kutukata miguu. Si mnajua? Yeye ni project ya nani? Yeye ni project ya Ruto. Acha tuongee vile ukweli iko.
That's for the first time that Peter Kenneth has said in black and white there openly that he has been, of course, he has said he has been rigged out so many times before, but it's for the first time that we've heard him mentioning the name of Deputy President William Ruto, blaming him for his loss during the Jubilee nominations. Prof, why do you think this is coming up now?
Okay.
And do you think 2022 politics has a role in it?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's 2022, 2027, and 2032. All of it.
But we have 2017 to deal with first.
Yeah, but this
Don't you think Jubilee is trying to jump the gun here?
It's already done. It's almost done. Eh?
It's almost done.
It's almost done.
Okay, both you and Jeremy are saying, I don't...
So now they can be fighting for 2020. Now, let me, first of all, commend Jared for being a candidate. And I think it would be a good idea for you to be in Ugenya tomorrow to receive the president.
Sure.
Let's come back to Nairobi. Let's come back to Nairobi.
So now, the 2022 issue is very volatile. It is overshadowing this current election because Deputy President Ruto has been accused several times in different places. So what we had PK talking about is not a new thing. In fact, even Ruto referred to it the other day when he was trying to defend himself. He's saying those people who are saying he is the bad one, say, okay, if I'm the bad one, you elect the president and wait for me at 2022, you know, so 2022 politics is playing in a very bad way. If it is true that PK was rigged out the way he says he was rigged out, then he'll win. In the what? Remember I was talking about people, the reaction people have. If on August the 8th, people come out and vote in big numbers, and they believe that he was the right candidate, that he was rigged out, they will vote for him irrespective of the party. If he lost, properly. Irrespective of the party, he will still lose. So the shambolic nominations we saw in both parties were a disaster to the parties. If that's what happened, and it did happen. So the battle line is 2022. The perception that William Ruto may think that Kenneth is a threat in the future, then that might explain it.
Yeah. Brian, as much as we're talking about 2022, we have 2017 to deal with. And his work clearly is cut out for him. That is Peter Kenneth. Of course, he's trying to get that seat. What do you think he's trying to achieve by bringing in the name of the deputy president?
I think I must say that he's a disgruntled fella. He has not yet come into terms with the laws that he went through. And he's still in a mourning sort of situation, politically speaking, owing to the fact that he was actually getting the support from who is who in this country, especially the Mount Kenya mafias and all that. And with that kind of support, the kind of mobilization that had been done, even from the top of this office in this country, that kind of laws did not really go down with him. And therefore, he's still in a sort of a denial, a sort of political denial. But again, when you look at how he's going to change the dynamics, of course, he has already mentioned some names here on TV. That Ruto, the number 2, of course, was in the thick of things in terms of ensuring that Kenneth does not get the ticket. Of course, that can be, that's reasonable enough for us to believe that Ruto did not want enough competition come 2022. Of course, the 2022 factor also come into play. But again, when you look also at how Sonko, who beat now Kenneth, actually conducted his politics, I think I personally saw it coming because prior to that, on the eve of the nomination, he had whole day paid advertisement on some of the major media houses, KTN included, and therefore people could see and they could resonate with the development, the track record that he had done. They saw Peter Kenneth as a late entrant into the politics of Nairobi. They saw him, I mean, as a newcomer, and they were asking him themselves many questions about his absence from the political scene all along, and therefore he's coming on the scenario, on the scene, who did not receive that kind of warm reception, and therefore he was bound to lose. Honestly, he was bound to lose. But
I'm sure it's something that he's trying to work on before the August date.
Need to work on
Jeremy, I'm sure Kidero, wherever he is smiling all the way to the bank.
Yes, he must be smiling, and I can say for a fact that Kidero may win this election in the morning. Given that, one, we need to understand that whatever Peter Kenneth is doing there, one, is tribal, is playing some tribal politics. Two, is about 2022, in the sense that we know, and it has come out, even the independent, from Mount Kenya came out and accused the deputy president of having a hand in them losing the nominations, and therefore, for Peter Kenneth to come out and say that, what they're looking at is 2022, Mondo Wanyumba now to come in. You know, that this is a man, deputy president may not be a man as much as he was with the president. The Mondo Wanyumba may come in, the factor may come in. And that's what I think Peter Kenneth is trying to do. But let me just say that in all these things, maybe if I may go back to the goodies, in all this that we are doing, it is very unfortunate that all development that are being done, we are still looking at them with an ethnic lens. We need to look at them as growth to this country.
I wanted to say something
Brian, before you come in, let me just go to your favorite area. That is Machakos. It's another hotly contested area as far as the gubernatorial contest is concerned. I think we've all agreed that Nairobi has been very much silent, but Machakos right now is literally on fire, politically speaking. So let's listen into one of the candidates, Wavinya Ndeti, on what she had to say this week.
Lakini, mimi ningeuliza tu IBC, they need to be fair. Kwa sababu kama wangefuata, kama wangeuliza registrar of political parties vizuri, na wauliza maswali, hatungefika hapa. Lakini mimi nasema, yaliondoa sipite. Kenya is bigger than Chebukati, Kenya is bigger than Wavinya.
Wavinya Ndeti there. She is a Wiper candidate. She was earlier on accused, or rather, she was told that she belongs to the 2 different political parties at the same time, and that amounted to an electoral offense. Brian, a quick one. This woman we've seen, she has been in the nomination twice. She got a total of more than 200,000 votes. Do you think she might prove to be a real threat to Maendeleo Chapchap? Very quickly.
Oh, sure. Yusuf, I really wanted to comment something on Peter
We're
Kenyatta.
out of
But
time.
anyway,
We'll just come back.
see Peter. Let's now concentrate on
Don't bring that up.
see Peter. Anyway, I think Machakos is going to be one of the most attractive package for us as political analysts and governance analysts to watch and, demystify or interrogate further. And with the entry of Wavinya and Ndeti, of course, now having been absorbed by the systems, the legal systems, I think now it's back to work in terms of full throttle campaigns. And this is being a very intriguing political space as far as Machakos is concerned, where I neighbor Machakos. I come from Makueni County. But Machakos politics is so dear to me because it's the heart of Ukambani politics. And with Mutua, a man of his stature in terms of what he has been able to brand himself as a governor #1, and with Wavinya, with all this kind of political support from the political party of the land.
And the court ruling seems to have rejuvenated.
Of course, with this kind of cameras on her, and every time the focus is on Wavinya, I think she's gaining a lot of political mileage, and that is not really giving Mutua, of course, sleepless nights in Machakos.
Do you think she can give Mutua a run for his money come August 8th?
I mean, and it's a good thing. I think until she got into the race, Machakos was going to be very dull.
Sure.
It would have been boring.
It would have been boring. So I think she's
Why do you
made
think
it
that's the case?
exciting because she looks as if she's a good fighter.
Yeah.
She's noisy, which is an attribute of politics that you have to be heard, even if nobody wants to hear you. You make sure they hear you, that sort of thing. Mutua appeared smooth sailing for a while. Now he really has to work hard. I think he still will win, but it is not an easy thing. Wavinya,
if he's going to win.
Let him finish his because,
I think, and I may be wrong, but I'm not usually.
All right.
Of course, that's why we have an election.
But she's going to give him a hard time.
Sure.
And at present, we can say it's likely to be a toss-up. In the nomination, as Brian is pointing out, she got officially roughly 200,000 votes.
Yeah.
And if the total voting population is about 500, by presumption, which may be wrong, can imagine where the other three will go. But nobody has it locked up in Machakos. So that's where the excitement is. And both sides, we need to work very hard.
One final comment from you as well. The fact that he has managed to bring up on board, more than 200,000 votes on 2 different occasions. We all know nominations don't attract a lot of people. Do you think she's a force to reckon with in Machakos?
Maybe if I say if it's a force, I heard what she said. Kwa sisi ambao tunaenzi lugha ya Kiswahili. I think
that's a debate. No. That's a debate. That's a debate we've been having the whole week. Forget about it.
But I think again I must say that the election in Machakos is not going to be won on the history of development. It's going to be won on the issue of the party. It's unfortunate that we are going to choose a party other than look at critically what has been done. But I think as things stand, to me, I think Wavinya is going to win this election as a governor for Machakos.
I think it's a little bit too early to say, owing to the new intrigues and new developments. And
very fast, Brian. I think we're almost out of time.
When you look at the track record of Mutua, and when you look at how he has packaged himself, how he has endeared himself not only to the people of Machakos, but also to the whole country, I think he has cut a brand of himself as a working governor. But again, Wavinya is also having that kind of competitive edge based on the fact that Wiper Party, the party that is actually the party of the land, is on her. I think this is going to be one of the most closest contests that we have ever seen as far as the counties are concerned.
Of course, and we'll be keeping a keen eye on that contest in Machakos between Wavinya Ndeti and the current Governor Alfred Mutua. Many thanks, Professor Macharia Munene, for your input. Always a pleasure to have you on board, Brian Mutie, as well as Mtumishi, who is eyeing the Ugenya's parliamentary seat through the Ford party. Many thanks all of you for finding time to join us here. And of course, thank you as well to our viewers who have been watching for the last 2 hours. This has been the campaign edition of Choice 2017, where we have been discussing nothing else but politics. Be sure to join Ali Manzo up next, because we're not yet done, because President Uhuru Kenyatta is in Kaimosi still as we're talking, and there is a rally, or rather NASA have been pitching a camp in the neighboring Busia County. All that right here on KTN News. My name is Yusuf Ibrahim. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye for now.
KTN News. Get the whole story.